I'm right on time. I was almost late. I was actually channeling a message. I was like, what do you want to say about a spirit? I know what I feel, but what else do you want to say? So I'll get into that a little bit. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, Roger. I see you in the comments already. So I hope you're still here. I'm glad you actually might be making a live, I hope. And it said, it looks like I know which government really loves me and wants to evolve with love. Do you? Right? And he's like, love and fire. I love it. So welcome. Boy, do I got a lot to talk about. First, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Juniper Bloom Mystique. I am an Ascension Master, Master Healer, and Divine Guide. I'm not normal. I'm not your regular starseed or light worker. I am the one who brought about the ascension, okay? Doing it through clearing Mount Shasta, raising Atlantis, activating pyramids, and so on and so on, and to resurrection of Christ, which was actually uniting the twin souls, which was Jesus and Mary Magdalene, all the way back to Adam and Eve, clearing karma, all that kind of stuff, okay? So welcome. You guys are amazing warriors of the light, amazing, my amazing soul family, right? That's what it is. We are the ones who can see, basically. If you find me, chances are you can see a lot. So welcome. You guys are amazing. All right. So today was a weird day. So forgive me for being off. It was so weird. So throughout my journey, I've been attempting to unite with my own twin flame, right? And so I talk about that. There's been mishaps. It's been a very difficult union. It really has. And I'm sure difficult on both sides. One didn't make it. I got a new one and yada, yada. It's a long story. But if you check out the channel, you'll be up to date, right? But Spirit keeps telling him and has said time and time again that neither one of us are really safe until we unite, right? Well, that was proven today. So some weird stuff happened today. So I'm going to discuss that a little bit. But then I kind of want to talk to you about kind of what's going on. And then we'll see who all shows up today and if any messages are given. Personal. Okay? So that's what's up. Today, okay, first of all, have you guys been feeling the weird energy, right? Like, what's up? The energy has been insane. It's been very dense. It's been very rough. It's been hard to breathe, kind of a feeling through, right? At least that's my experience. Different other symptoms. I've got knots forming on my shoulders and just like weird, right? It's been like almost like a battle to get through the energy. And that's relevant. It's also kind of relevant for going with the train derailments and all that kind of stuff, right? But today, yeah. Hi, Amy D. Hi, Donita. What up? No wonder I've been thinking about you so much. I'm so glad you guys are here. I don't know if Roger's still here. He was. So I'm going to talk about this. So the energy's been weird. I've been off. I've been going through a lot of processing since the return of Christ, right? Since we did that on Christmas. It really did. Like, it's been such a weird ride afterwards. And then there's been a lot of weird things happening. Well, Spirit told the DM again recently he wasn't safe, right? Either. Well, today so I have neighbors a few doors down. This was one of them was a guy who tried to want to be my twin flame, right? Right after my first DM died. And I like really quickly put up protections and blocked that energy. Well, there's a guy that lives there that constantly kind of yells at people and cusses them out and stuff, but I've never had an altercation with him with myself, right? Like I avoid them. I keep away from them. This is who I am. I'm very private. I just keep to myself. And he kept trying to talk to my brother. They've already said I'm crazy because they won't watch the videos. They won't do all that kind of, they're really not of the higher vibrational state, Obviously, because he's constantly threatening people around here. This is what he does around here all the time. Just something's not quite right there. Absolutely. And they'll sing songs of F the police and F, like I love Satan kind of things. And so today, and then he was like trying to be friends with my brother or something weird. And I'm like, okay, something's up. Like trying really weird to talk to my brother, but then like your sister's crazy, but she's cool. And like pushing really hard lately, and I'm just like, something's up. I told my brother, I'm like, please stop talking to them. Just something's up. And so I stepped outside today. That's all I did. And he was looking at me, and I looked over, and he's like, you want to be my friend? And I'm like, you want to be my friend? I was like, well, could you at least stop yelling these things in front of the kids? And immediately, like, hell unleashed. Like, it's not a joke. I had him all of a sudden come over towards my door and get in my face and start yelling at me and cussing me and calling me a hoe and telling me things about my anatomy in front of the whole apartment complex. This dude's never seen my anatomy. And he's like, "You're flat-chested hoe." And I'm like, "Wait, nope. Something's wrong here." Like, but it kept going and going, and they got in my face. And then this lady was next to him holding a 2-year-old in her arm, and she was getting in my face. Turns out she's 15. Okay. This 15-year-old girl starts getting in my face with this grown-ass man, and he's close enough. He's spitting in my face at this point. He had bright blue eyes, kind of long curly hair. I could smell the alcohol on him. All of a sudden, he's like literally like in my face. I'm shaking, but I'm like, like, step up. Like, I'm not afraid. I just kept, I'm not afraid of you. Calling me names. I know I have a camera in my house and my window. And so I was like, I hope this is recording all of this. And then eventually he actually came at me. The first time he came at me, his wife jumped in. I know this is his wife because they lived next door for a few days, for like about a year. I don't know them because I don't interact with them. I avoid them at all costs. She jumped in between and he ended up hitting her because he was already in swing towards me, coming at me. Like, literally, he like hit her in the face. And I'm like, "See, I bet you hit her all the time." And he's like, "Yeah, I like hitting fucking bitches, you stupid hoe." Like, I'm not kidding you. Like, this guy wanted to kill me. And he was literally saying that. And he's like literally coming at me. And he tried to hit me once. His wife stopped him. And I'm just like kind of like dumbfounded. And I'm not like going anywhere. I'm closed my door. I won't let my kids outside. And then this girl's getting in my face. And I'm like, "You better get your kid out of here." Like, I didn't say this to them at this point, but I'm like, I'm a mandated reporter. "Hi, Roger. Hi, Gigi." You have to catch up on this story. I'll get through it quickly because it's not very positive, but it's really crazy. And it was like out of the blue. And DM, holy shit, like, we're not safe. Please be careful. Because he hasn't come together. And that's why Spirit always tells him, I'm not safe. He's not safe. So this guy's like in my face, calling me names, screaming through this whole entire apartment complex about my anatomy, which I don't understand why, like vulgar things, calling me a hoe. And I don't even have anybody over here. Like, it was just the weirdest thing. And it got more escalated again after his wife like charged him backwards. And they're both bigger than me. I'm not a very big person. I'm like 5'3", I'm pretty short. It was crazy. And now I'm like even forgetting half of what was said because it was nonsensical and I couldn't even talk. They were just yelling and screaming over me, calling me all these names, threatening me. And this grown ass man is charging me. And then my brother comes out and he's like, "Oh, that's my friend. But this bitch right here, I'm going to hurt her," like all this stuff. And I like hitting women. And keep in mind, he already swung at me once. He charged me, full fisted at me, and his wife stopped him and he hit her. And I'm like, "You must hit her all the time." He's like, "Yeah, I do." So then here comes the second time. All of a sudden, there's like 7 people coming at me. It was everybody that lived in that apartment. All these people came out of the blue. This 15-year-old girl, all these people, that guy that wanted to be my twin flame months ago, like all these people were out, okay, with kids, this 15-year-old girl. And I'm like, what the fuck? My brother finally comes out because he can hear the commotion at this point because I'm just not backing down. Like, I'm just like, I told him, hit me. I'm like, what are you going to do? Like, okay. Kind of in shock, but stupid. I get that way. I'm too brave sometimes. My brother's like, "Well, I'm sure glad you're not a pussy." I'm like, "No," but he's like, "But you better chill." So by the second attack, my brother's out and I wouldn't back down. So the guy kept like calling me names and trying to like really upset me. I couldn't talk. I couldn't respond. It was one of those things where everything you say, they turn it around at you. And they're like screaming at you and cussing at you. And so I'm probably like shaking inside, but I probably act more like do it, which is probably not the smartest response, but that is my normal response. That's why my ex-husband used to tell me, "You're not abused. You don't cower in the corner." I'm like, "Bitch, no, I'll fight back." Like, don't fuck with me. But, like, seriously, I don't hurt people, you know what I mean? But I also don't back down. Like, he kept trying to almost like abuse me, like kind of get me to go. I don't know what he was doing. He kept saying he wanted to me to shut the fuck up and calling me names. But last night they were also saying they were going to stab everybody in this apartment. Okay, they were outside saying that. And so I'm like, oh my God. So then all of a sudden he charged at me again because I don't know why. I really don't. He just starts getting more escalated with his own words and then charged at me. And I kept telling to get his kids off me, this 14, 15-year-old girl. I'm like, you don't understand. I'm a mandated fucking reporter. It was insane. And he charged me again. And then my brother had to actually stop him this time. Like he came out and like, boom, right in front of him and stopped him this time. And then I went inside and I called the police. That was my first response. And I don't like to do that because it's not always a good experience. Right? Like it just, in my lifetime, when I've had moments where I had to call the police, it wasn't a good experience. This is what happened today. Like this was my morning. I got none of my work done that I was trying to do. And I'm like flabbergasted. Like this dude literally tried to punch me in my face twice. Once hitting his own wife. The second time, my brother having to intervene. I'm calling the police. My brother then calls his boss, who is not somebody you want to mess with either. So his boss and his boss's son-in-law or something come over. And the neighbors start getting a baseball bat out and threatening them. And so they go out in the parking lot and they're like, let's go, let's fight. And the guy was like, oh, he starts like softening up. And he kept just basically saying he wanted to hit me. He kept telling everybody that it's that fucking hoe. I'm going to take her out. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, I have no idea. I've never done anything to these people ever. Okay. Ever. They're trying to do more. So here, get this. I call the police show up and they've been called on this guy so many times, not by me. Right. And I'm just like, I don't know what to do. He's trying to hit me twice. My brother is involved in all this drama and I live here. And I'm like, I got to do something. And that was my first response. My brother's friends show up. They start going off on my brother's friends, grab a baseball bat. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is crazy. And they're probably not people you want to mess with. Nobody is. And I'm like, oh my God, somebody's going to get hurt here. It was so insane. And the police came back, right? They're like, all we can do is give him a ticket. And I'm like, well, I should have let him hit me. I was like, dude, you should have let him hit me because then at least maybe he'd go to jail. Because in the state of Colorado, it used to be that if you hit anybody, domestic violence, assault, no matter what, they take somebody out of the situation, right? That's how it used to be. And the cop literally told me, well, even if he hit you, it'd be a ticket. And I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah. I'm like, that's scary. He's like, yeah. He's like, and he also told me I need to make you take your cameras out of your window and stop going outside. So the neighbor was trying to get the cops to tell me to take my cameras out of my window and stop going outside. And the cop is like, I'm not telling you that. He's like, but do your best to avoid these people. And so as it stands, so then get this. He called the cops 2 more times on me when I went to take my dog outside. So I went outside to take my dog outside. I'm avoiding them. They start cussing at my window, screaming at my window, hitting a baseball bat against the house, saying, come out, bitch, come out. That's what they've been doing for hours. They haven't stopped. And so the cops came back again and they're like, you want to tell me what's been going on? I'm like, yeah, like this is what, and I recorded it and I told them that because they told me to file a restraining order. I'm like, this is insane. Like, what the flying hell is happening here? So this little girl too, this 15-year-old girl keeps getting in my face saying the only kids we care about here is this little girl right here. And I'm like, like basically my kids don't matter and fuck the police and I love Satan. Just keep screaming this. This is the weirdest, insane, most thing I've ever experienced. I'm like, what the hell is happening? And my DM's been told I'm not safe until he's with me. This is why, because of the resurrection of Christ and everything, you guys being the one who brought it about, we were supposed to unite a long time ago. I've been attacked several times. I've talked about this. It keeps occurring. It's very painful. Now it's this, right? And recently Spirit told my DM he's not safe. And so I'm like, oh God, I hope he's safe. But it was the weirdest thing. And the cops came again and they're like, dude, we're not going to tell you to keep your camera out of your window. They're like, he's in a cycle. I'm like, yeah, I've realized this is crisis situation. Like, he's not normal. Something's really wrong with this guy because he keeps going after anybody basically. But he like really has it in for me right now. And he like, so now I guess every time I go outside, he may call them. I don't know. Every time I go out, they keep screaming at me. They keep screaming towards my window. It's been an interesting day. I literally didn't do anything either. Like 4444. So I pulled cards on it. I'm like, what's going down, Spirit? What the hell is happening? And basically they're saying, let it go, rise above. It's preparation. There's something coming. Stay in my routine. This is literally what they're saying. Territory, so boundaries. Okay. So I put up a fucking wall. You better believe I did. I'm going to stay in my routine. So it's almost like I did trying to take me down. I have no idea. It was the weirdest thing in the world. And so basically the cops are like, yeah, just stay safe. So here's also what I found out, though, is the landlord may not be renewing their lease. So because it's constant with them, they have not been offered the opportunity to renew the lease. So the video I took, I sent to my landlord because they were using a baseball bat, hitting the wall, like threatening me. He tried to hit me twice. So remains to be seen if I am safe at all. I don't know. But luckily my brother's here. So I'm not alone necessarily, but they don't seem to care. Like it doesn't matter. Like at all. They're yelling at me in front of my kids and everything. So it's interesting. We'll see what's coming. Something's coming. All right. So that brings me into talking about the train derailments and all the important stuff because it's all relevant. It all kind of goes together, right? So I'm just going to talk about that. And that'll lead me into something that's coming tomorrow. And if you want to watch the rest of it, you can see on my Facebook tomorrow with me. I'll be live on there at 10 a.m. because then we're going to talk about the other side of it, which I feel like I talk about often on here too. So it's not necessarily a necessity. Okay. So I did kind of look for my first workshop. I've talked about that before, you guys, right? Where I'm like, how it was this like spell casting, where I wrote it out because I didn't know anything I was doing yet. They're just like, do a workshop. I'm like, what the hell's a workshop? And I was just learning how to channel. And this was just after my Kundalini awakening, right? Like it was crazy. And so this time I was like spell casting and I wrote it out. And in there, I remember it saying, united we stand, united they fall. It's like, I'm going to shake everything up to the surface so that it can be seen, so that it can fall. And that was part of what was in there. So I was looking for that today and I still didn't find it yet. So I'm like, I even sent copies to the people that came. So I wonder if Pamela still has hers or anybody else that went to that workshop. So I'm going to get to the bottom of it. I have to find it, but I didn't yet. But that's the energy I tuned into. So I got a couple images for what's going on. And it has to do with the work that I did for the ascension. Okay. The train derailments, they're not saying specifically if there's going to be a lot more of those, but I'm going to tell you why they're occurring and the fact that we can just expect crazier things. So first of all, I want to tell you to expect the unexpected. Okay. I remember people would say, like, get your popcorn and get ready to watch this unfold like a movie, right? Like it's the craziest shit we may ever seen. So like they're talking about aliens being shot down, the big white pretend spy balloon, because if anybody's going to spy on you, it's going to be through hidden walls, not a big white, look at me. Okay, so something cuckoo's going on, right? They want you to believe it's something it's not. So here's the thing. I found a video today. There's a couple I wanted to show you, but I don't know if I'll be able to from this platform. Maybe I'll pull them up on my phone and I'll let you see them after I talk about them really quickly for you, okay? The first video was a guy talking about the train derailments and all of these things, and the fact that they're hiding something, right? Like that's what he kept talking about. It's like, this doesn't make sense. This is not adding up. It was the infrastructure. So there was another one with the lady, and she had said, there's more to it. It's the infrastructure. And so I want you to kind of take a consideration of that, okay? Because that goes with the message too. There's the work that I did for the ascension, the return of Christ, all of these things unfolding. It's like hitting me like a ton of bricks. It is so very real. Like we can't deny it at this point. But everything I did going back to that very first workshop was united we stand, united they fall. So I got an image in my head of that workshop. And I'm like, okay, so there's an infrastructure here. And it's basically corrupted based. Okay, so any part of the infrastructure system that is corrupt. So let me explain that again. Are there parts of the matrix and our infrastructure that are not corrupt? Yes. But the parts that are a part of. So it's funny too, because I saw a video today of the Sphinx and they were talking about the head and how people went in the head, and you can see this little thing here, and that's the portal of time that I activated. That is sucking all this stuff out which leads me into the other video I saw earlier of this lady talking about the blue dome. Now, Amy and Donita and Gigi, you guys went to those workshops. Remember when my DM died? I don't know if you guys watched this part. Remind me, please. I think it was when he died, we completed the dome of light around the earth, the protective dome. And I've talked about that in my work. So I'll try to show you these videos. This lady on the one video is like, yep, there's a protective dome of blue light and it's causing things to leave this earth. And I'm like, oh Lord, I don't think that's what's causing it. I think it's more the portal of time. I really do. But it's also Christ light based. Okay, are you guys, am I clear on this? Am I doing all right explaining this one so far? Because it's a lot. And then I'm being attacked like crazy today. Like crazy, you guys. Like, this guy wants to hurt me. And I didn't do anything. I don't know this guy. I've never talked to him a day in my life. Okay. Like, seriously. All right. So, the infrastructure system, and then I also get the image of the pillars crumbling of the White House. And I told you guys something more is coming of that too. And so that's what they're telling me. It's all related. Okay. United we stand, united we fall, and it will fall in layers. Earthquakes, the aliens. So I channeled a message about this specifically. I'm like, what do you want me to say specifically from spirit about all of these things? The train derailment, the earthquakes. Are you guys with me? I don't know. Like, I'm not seeing comments. So I don't know if it's like frozen or what's up. So I'm going to read the channeled message. And then I'll kind of, like the videos again, I'll go back over those a little bit because I think it's very relevant. I'll see if I can show you what they are just so you can see them for yourself. One was on Facebook, though. That was this lady. It just popped up today. Like, all this shit came at me today. It just pops up in my reality. And it's something that, like, you know, it's like a sign, right? Here's your sign. But I didn't watch the videos. But the whole infrastructure system is going to fall. Now, it's going to crumble in big ways coming forward. Sweet. What up, Donina? She says still here. Awesome. Okay, so I'll just talk about this message really quick, kind of slow my energy down, because I noticed as soon as I started talking about what happened to me today, I kind of went right back into that, you know, like, holy shit, 2222. So, Goose Fraba. Right, Goose Fraba. And that's better, like butter. United we stand, united they fall. Okay, that's what came out first. And then I saw my first workshop. It's the collapse of an infrastructure that is not of the light. You are not alone in space and time. So that sentence to me didn't just make me feel like spirit. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Which makes sense, because at one of my workshops, they already said there's actually new galactic aliens on our planet. They said that. And now you're seeing all this stuff about weird things. It's weird. And what is the media? They tell you bits and pieces that are real, and then they turn it and flip it. Just like what was happening to me today with these neighbors. Like, if I would get a word out, they would twist my word and throw it at me and scream over me, and like 5 or 6 of them. Like, it was insane, from a 15-year-old girl. The only ones who didn't was Anthony and his wife. They stood back. They did nothing. That was like, and I did say his name. I don't care. Okay. So it's a collapse of that structure, and we are not alone in space and time. What that is telling me is there is beings here. They are absolutely unequivocally on this planet. They already were, but these are different ones. I feel like 5555. These are ones helping to bring about changes. So may we have like a kind of like a weird squabble between aliens and something going? I don't know what this is saying exactly. I don't think so, just because the infrastructure is so weak. So I want to remind you guys that, okay? Because all the work I did, which brings me to the bubble of light and protection, which Amy and Gigi and Donita may remember this. I don't know if Donita did that one. I think the bubble of light closed out on August 30th, though. I posted it on here for you guys to see when David died. Yes, Gigi says yes. Y'all remember that. So this goes with this whole thing, okay? Because we are not alone in space and time. So they're going to try to push fear. And I'm trying to say there's nothing to be afraid of. But in here, they're letting me know that we are definitely not alone. More than you've ever known, we're not alone. Okay, have we ever been alone? No, we have not. I undocked a ship before. 5555. Yep. Yes, the bubble was done with the twin flame union was the return of Christ. Okay, and I've talked about that. That's when God married my DM and I right before he died. And they had mentioned the return of Christ was this. It was all of this. And so then I do ask you, is it like Jesus and Mary Magdalene? Like, it's weird. It's just it's weird, right? It's a lot. Okay. So are we protected? Yes. I feel like something's going on there, right? Where there are beings who are coming in to help. But it's in an assistance type of a thing. Okay. And so I feel like we're safe. Those that need to be safe are safe. This also brings me into the suicide uptick too, though, right? So there's some heavy energies here. Okay. Here's the rest of the message. You are witnessing a collapse of a structure made from dark. And my handwriting changed. It felt like this weird channeling. One by one, we will rise. Not equal light and dark. Remember, I've talked about that. The yin and the yang is false. We're not equal light and dark. Which brings me to Feel Good today. Feel Good, that guy. Sometimes he irks me, right? Like when my DM first took off with the fallen angel, Feel Good did a video that day. I'm not shitting her. The next day, he's like, we're doomed. And I'm like, oh God, that went dark. So today, Feel Good's video was about, he believes because he was like, Satan, I got a download about Satan. And so I'm like, well, I don't watch him, but I'm gonna check this out. You know, this is curious in me. I'm going to see what he has to say because I know what I've done with the fallen angels, El Diablo, right? That's what I call them because I had to take them down to put up the fucking dome and my DM died, okay? I'm just excited and I don't know why. So let me calm my energy. Sorry about the cussing. But we are not meant to be equal light and dark, okay? And in his video right away, he was like, I'm a firm believer that we're meant to be light and dark, equal parts light and dark. And I'm like, so I was immediately prompted that no, this is false. And this also leads me into the suicidal ideation rise, right? People are committing suicides in the news all over the place. I've seen recently one of the Kelly Pickler, her husband committed suicide. There was another mom and she took her son with her and jumped off Niagara Falls within the last few days. They said that was not a falsehood either, okay? So this is all related. It truly is, whether you want to believe it or not. Okay, you can take a full look at the totality of the picture and the work that I've done. This is Judgment Day, and I've talked about this many times over, okay? And it all goes together and it kind of aligns with the very first workshop I did. And then all of the rest, all right? So we're not a yin and yang. We are masculine and feminine yin and yang, and that's what we were supposed to be, and that was the return of Christ and my DM and I, the alignment of masculine and feminine, the return of unconditional love. I brought down Christ's light. So there was quite a bit an absence of light on this planet because we cannot be both. Let me repeat this until it sinks in, because even hearing Feel Good say, I believe we should be half dark and half light because then we learn things, is wrong. Okay, I've already undone the shadow. Remember that. I did the workshop and I undone the negative pull on the moon. I undid the collective shadow, which was the fallen angels, which they called El Diablo. Okay, making sense now? So when he said that, like it struck a chord to me. I'm like, now Feel Good has 100 and some thousand followers, right? And the fact that he said that today, my stomach kind of turned for him. I was like, oh no, right? But he was getting downloads about Satan, so I like, let's just catch up, right? Feel Good, like I'm on the track that he's seeing it, right? Like our soul of light doesn't have a gender, so that's scary to me too. We are equal parts masculine and feminine. And where I struggle in balance, if you guys notice, when I get out of balance, when my DM doesn't show up, it knocks me out of balance because the masculine is not pulling the weight. And so now I'm like both. Okay, so we are equal parts masculine and feminine. Twin flames develop so much love and learn so much lessons within the light that they split in two, and the masculine is actually on the outside and the feminine is on the outside. And that's how God made Adam and Eve. God made Eve and then made Adam to protect and love, and the most love you could possibly be. When my DM died, if you remember, I was doing the deep blue sea messages, and if you look that up, that talks about the devil being standing in the middle of the devil in the attack when I was attacked by the fallen angel. Okay, so this is what they did. The return of Christ was the return of Jesus and Magdalene and Adam and Eve. Mine was first when my DM and I came together, and we came together like this. Okay, it's not a container. So Roger, I don't know what's going on here because it's not a container. When Atlantis fell, Adam and Eve were ripped apart. Okay, darkness came in. There was a false goddess stuff that I had to kind of remove and clear after the fact. And I drowned. I drowned there. I saw everybody drown there. It was not good. My heart was snuffed out. Like, that's when they shifted the poles the first time. It was not a good thing. Okay. And it lowered the vibration of the planet, which then in turn caused the planet to be less light and more all darkness, pretty much. Okay. So there is the divide you are talking about is the light and dark, my friend. Masculine and feminine is one whole. God is both, which is why some people will think God is feminine. For me, there is absolutely a father energy from God when I see him, and I have seen him a couple of times. Yes, I can absolutely describe him. I've seen him. I've received messages from him. But my point here is like masculine and feminine that got ripped apart is the problem. And that's why the ascension is now coming, is because the vibration of the planet was too low and everybody's DNA was now unequivocally becoming changed. Okay? If God is male and female and that's acceptable, then how come mankind being male and female is not, right? So the male and the female together is what makes the whole. When that became separate, we were fucked. And then over lifetimes, you have Salem, Massachusetts that occurred where they came in and took out more. They burned the light and they called it witches. Okay. And I really don't resonate with the term witches. I don't. I'm a light healer. But I know what my just Saint, who's not here today, but she did my academy. And when she was going through my alchemy academy, she's like, we got to do this healing. And we both went to Salem and we removed all the darkness from Salem. Okay, so I have literally spent the last 3 years, remember, removing all the darkness from the planet step by step. And it's all recorded for you guys. It came through me in real time. So I had no idea what was coming through me in real time. I processed it afterwards. All right. And so now everything's coming full circle. Now everything is to where we have aligned masculine and feminine. There's still a slight imbalance, right? But I am doing better. I have gotten back in balance. I'm finding my flow again. Okay, just so you know that. And I can feel my DM. I can feel him a little bit like more. I think I heard him even tell me he loves me. Like, I really do. Like, I questioned it a little bit, but I don't want to do that, right? And so I feel there's good things there, which is odd because I was attacked today by my neighbor out of the blue and viciously, and probably will continue. And now I'm scared because they wanted me to hit my camera out of my window. So if you put this all together, it's like, they're getting agitated. It's the energy. If this dense energy, like when I started the video, that's what I was talking about, right? Is that dense energy, it's creating a push and pull, which brings me back to that female video where she's like, there's this blue bubble around that's causing changes and it's pushing out darkness and bringing in light. And I'm like, well, yeah, but if you only knew that I brought down Christ's light and it took me forever to build up that dome. Okay. So we are protected. The things that you will see fall from this moment forward are all of the light, that all of what is not of the light. Okay. It's that infrastructure, and it has to do with dirty money. That was one of the other videos I'm talking about on there, was like this train derailment in Ohio had something to do with like that. Here, think now I'm going to bring those up really quick. So that's what it's like. I'm mind boggled that people aren't like so amazed like me about the return of Christ. I'm like, I didn't know it was going to be Jesus and Mary Magdalene ripped apart, Adam and Eve were ripped apart, and it was my job to bring them together. Remember when I kept saying I got to bring together the twin flames? I thought it was just all the 144,000. It's that too, because I had to clear all the karma in order for them to unite. So that's what I was doing, right? Let me look through my history really quick. So to me, I'm like, this is amazing. I love what they're showing me. I love how they're showing me this. And it's this, bear with me. There was a few, I'm like, save. Yeah. So the feel good one was called Satan, a message from God. And he's like, we are half dark and light. And I believe that. And I'm like, oh no, that scares me. Because we're not. Darkness has to leave. It cannot stay here. So I raise the vibration of the planet. Dark is a certain vibration. Light is a certain vibration. And you cannot house both. This should click a light on. Okay? It should click a light on right now that the fact that when I say raise your vibration, you can't have depression in a higher vibration. We can't have sicknesses. Okay? You cannot have darkness and light. You cannot house darkness and light. And those who've worked with me, do you remember me saying this recently where I'm like in one of my channeled messages or something where I'm like, dark cannot go into the light and light cannot be in the dark. We cannot mesh both. And this is the mind fuck that everybody went under. Like it was a very big one because masculine and feminine were torn apart. The balance got totally hijacked. Masculine and feminine were both taken down, and then the darkness pretended to rise in a masculine form. Women couldn't vote. They killed all the witches and all the light in all those areas and claimed it was everything else. And they've been slowly taking you all the fuck out. Your DNA, everything, the V, put it all, like when you put it all together, it's like, boom, oh my God. You cannot vibrationally house darkness and light. You can vibrationally house masculine and feminine, which becomes the one, the whole. God is both male and female. People are both of the light, male and female. And the fact that it couldn't be on this planet that way, and I returned Christ's light. Okay, and now we've gone from 5D to 7D. So anything that cannot match a very high frequency now, 5D. Okay, they aren't going to force everything to go to 7D because some of us cannot. Okay, so anything that cannot match that same frequency of the light that we are, the blue dome, which is a complete circle now, the vibration is rising and rising and rising and rising, and I've talked about that. And anything that can't match that vibration will unequivocally be removed. Now, Amy, Gigi, Donita, if you guys remember, I did a workshop too where they struck the lightning, the light. Okay, it was the God's one. I opened the God portal, and that was in Fiji, I believe, right? If I remember correctly. And the gods came out, and I don't know what else I did in this one. It was another time I pixelated the earth, and we moved some things, and the gods began roaming the earth. And now you hear people talking about giants or waking up, whatever the hell that means, right? It's like when you put it together. But when they woke up, Zeus came in, and this was after I did the shadow work too, because I said something in my light language, and then Zeus lightning struck the White House. Boom! And in real time, lightning struck right in front of the White House and struck 4 people, and at least 2 died. I don't remember if 3 died, but at least 2 died. In real time, when I was recording the workshop to actual time and space, lightning struck. And I'm like, we were all like, oh my God, like that really happened. Okay. So like, it's like, we are not half in dark, people. Please understand this. This is why we have to heal. We have to heal. Please heal. We got to heal that. We have to fight the shadow. The shadow is not, the ego is not of the light. The shadow is not of the light. Judgment. And I talk about this. Anything not of the light is rising for everybody to be seen. And the weaker parts of the infrastructure will start being exposed and collapsing. Earthquakes are occurring because of what I actually did to the earth. Okay, that's not a punishment to anybody. We moved the poles. I anchored us into Pleiades galaxy apparently and added more poles, which is really strange. I'm still processing that one. Like, and this video went way south. Like, I did not expect all this today, but I like this. It's relevant. That something to do with that train, it had to do with the political aspect of the town and money. Like, it was a very dirty aspect, and that was the video I was looking for. That one had a female on it, I think, but I'm not finding it. I'll try to find them later. It's on YouTube. Like, these just popped up for me to see, and I saved them. So they're here. There's just a few, and I don't want to waste our time. Yeah, but like Kelly Pickler's husband committed suicide. There was a woman who took her son. His son survived so far. She did not. Jumped off in Niagara Falls. Like, suicide is on the rise also, because we're not equal parts light and dark. And those who have a little bit too much dark or have a lot of trauma, haven't healed the shadow in a massive way, get kind of stuck in those moments, are influenced easily by that negative pull. And I deal with this. I work also in the psychic crisis line. So I deal with suicidal ideation, which is probably why I talk about it in the way that I do. But it's also very relevant to the work that I do, which is why I'm like, why did this job land in my desk, Spirit? Like, what the hell, right? It's quite interesting. So when you put it together, is we're highly protected, but we are unequivocally starting to see the first part of the infrastructure crumble in front of all of you. And the earthquakes will continue. I've told you, though, they're highly unpredictable because nobody's done what I did to the planet before. And Spirit said that in my workshop. That's why I know this. They literally said that. This has never been done before. They all held their breath when I did like this thing to it and we anchored it in. Every being, every angel, every galactic person that was there, or not person, but in my workshop, like, held their breath. It was like, they literally said they don't know the full outcome. Okay. I can't deny that. And then one day they said something big was coming, and then we lost 33,000 in Turkey with that earthquake. And so I have to consider, though, that it's all divinely guided, right? Because the dome, remember, the dome is a complete circle. All right. So you've got to consider that. Do not be afraid. Even if you see aliens all of a sudden, and we may all see spaceships. My son and I saw something weird over our skies not too long ago too that we could not explain. I mean, it's quite common now, right? Like, there's some weird shit going on there. And you think they're going to tell you the truth? They're going to give you a little bit of an inclination into the truth, and then they'll manipulate the rest and spit it back at you, which is what darkness does. That's what these people were doing to me all day today. It was weird. So fucking weird. I'm like, what the hell? But then the other guy was talking about the Ohio disaster. This is one of the videos.
Now, luckily, these 5 tanker cars didn't initially catch fire.
Because there's like a lot of gases with it. There's a fire going on in Florida at some plant. Like, it's all relevant. And it does have to do with the gods. Just like that, everything I'm saying here is like literally seeing images in my head of what to tell you about what's going on. And I haven't quite finished the message, but I did. So this guy, let's see, Parapsych TV, this will affect you. He talks about it. It's a good video to check out on YouTube. Parapsych TV, this will affect you. He's talking about the fact that what I did watch of it, I didn't watch the whole thing again, but what I did watch about it is he's talking about it's not what they're telling you. Like, there's something else going on here. And the infrastructure, he mentioned that too. And it's just all relevant. Okay, it really is. And those who've worked with me can actually look at the work that I've done and look at everything's happening and go, oh my gosh. So, actually, too, they want to talk about the earthquakes a little bit more, is because there will be some that are planned. Will they tell you? No. Kissimmee, Florida? Okay. Kissimmee, Florida. Yeah, see, that's interesting, because Florida's been in my radar a lot lately. I feel like Florida has a low vibration. I'm not going to lie. Was I called to really do any work there? No. But every time I tune into there, it just doesn't feel right. So I'm just going to mention that. But The other part of this too is there's been not one, not two train derailments, but a few, right? As far as I know, like I don't really watch the news. I don't really look into all of this. I just pay attention to what Spirit wants me to pay attention to. I've talked about that. There's also a part of like toxic gases. And I want to remind you guys that there are no coincidences here. Okay. 4444. But I will also remind you guys that there's a blue dome. So are we going to have, here's the thing I keep hearing is like nuclear, right? I'm not afraid of a nuclear thing. It will not be allowed to happen. And I can't tell you that enough. This is me talking about we're not alone. If you don't think there's aliens here, there is. And some are definitely here to assist us. Okay, I can't deny that. I cannot deny that. As weird as that sounds, it's very true. And that's exactly what has played out in my workshops and the work that I've done. And when we went into 7D Pleiades Galaxy, they told me that they were going to be here. They already have been. And in this message, they're telling me the same thing. And that's from Spirit. Okay. But we're going to witness the collapse of the structure. And so that way we are protected. You see what I'm saying? It is about protection and the right protection. But if you're not eliminating the darkness out of you, right now, this energy is going to make it bubble. Okay. It's going to be like any kind of shadow you've got left, any kind of darkness you've got in you, it's bubbling, it's boiling, it's surfacing. So it can all rise, so it can all fall. And the ones that are rising and falling are the weaker part of the structure system. So it's going to get bigger and it's going to be bigger things. I also saw something about TRUMP. They said that they were considering reinstatement of him. So why would that come about, right? So just pay attention to the shift in the energy. It's being pushed to rise, which is why I think I'm also being pushed to fall, or whatever the neighbor was trying to do, kill me. I don't know why he wants me to take my cameras out of my window. Is pretty insane. Why? And then tell me I can't go outside of my house. That's weird. And the cops are like, we're not going to tell you that, but did they do anything to protect me? Fuck no. So I got to let that go, right? Because it's a distraction. I truly do feel that. So I did put up some more protections. DM, if you could ever show up, that would be great, because I feel like we're both not safe. So please put up protections for yourself as well. But what do you guys think of everything so far? Like, I know it's a little bit of like, it's a lot, but it's kind of, I almost feel like get my popcorn and watch it go down, you know, but then when I see Feel Good too, I'm like, yeah, well, that explains things, because he also thought we were doomed. And I'm like, no, I got this. And I still made it through, but it was scary in truth, right? So in my mind a little bit, he is still seeing things. You got to download about Satan. I just hope he gets that we're not half equal dark and light. That's what we really all got to understand. Unequivocally, undeniably so, please understand. Do not accept that you are supposed to be half dark and half light. That is a biggest freaking lie that they all fed you with a silver spoon. You are meant to be in balance with your masculine aspect and your feminine aspect, and to remove all karma and darkness for the ascension. Everybody else doesn't tell you that. I don't understand why, but then I'm reminded why Spirit's always at me going, you are of service. And I'm like, oh, because I'm the one who brought it about. So it's hard, right? Like, it's a lot. And I am serious about it because I feel like it's a very serious matter. Okay, the energies are pushing, things are boiling. And I mentioned before, suicides were going to increase. We can't help that. And when Twitch committed suicide, I channeled that and they talked about the same thing. His soul felt something big coming and they wanted redemption in a way. They felt they had to do something. They feel like they have to get out or they can't escape, or you know what I mean? It's like the vibration is so low, they can't see any way out of it. And most of the time, that's what it is. All right. So those ones I truly believe will get to like do the work on the other side a lot of times also. Not every one of them though. Okay. Keep that in mind. We're going to see people be removed off this planet that don't belong here. These past 2 weeks have been crazy here, and all has been a premonition that I had a couple years ago. Yeah. It's been It's been a ride. and then I'm reminded, wow, there is again nothing wrong with me, because Spirit said that. Spirit's like, don't you ever think less of yourself, right? Like, because I was getting the energy thrown at me that I was less. And it did make me feel less. It did make me feel like I failed, like I did something wrong, like nobody cares what I have to put out there. This energy was coming up. And Donita says, been waiting since 2020 for these symptoms to fall. All the work you did were protected. Oh, systems. I don't know why I said symptoms. Yeah, so be it, and stay safe. Yeah. So I did start the work a long time ago, and it is like that boomerang, right? It wasn't all instant. Although each time I did the work, something would happen, right? And then we were all like, whoa. And I even showed my brother that painting, and he knows a lot of the stuff I talk about. And he's like, he doesn't think I'm crazy. He's like, I have to process this. I'm like, yes, the word process this means a lot to me because it's downloading. You know what I'm saying? But even he's like, holy shit, it's real. You can't deny the work that I did. Like, we can't. And don't be afraid, because the blue dome was completed. Is there a bit of an imbalance? Yes. Am I going to do my absolute best to bring out of that and grab all of my power? Yes. And I am working on that. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Holy shit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fives right then when I said that. And that's what Spirit's been pushing me through. I am unequivocally recalling all of my power. Okay. And it can be painful, but that's what also I wanted to deliver on the last part of the message, is that every time these structures fall, we need to call back our power. And I'm going to talk about that more too tomorrow on Facebook. So if you want to join me there, but every time these structures fall, we have to call back our power. Okay. Because it is pieces of our power, of the light that was taken and snuffed out and created in darkness. And it's parts of our soul that were a hole that we need to fill again with light. So do you understand what I'm saying? So it's like almost like the Ho'oponopono prayer. I don't know if I did it right. I probably totally butchered it, but do you see what I'm saying? Like, this makes so much sense to me, and I hope it does to you guys. I know I can go fast because I get excited in them. And today was a doozy. I'm sorry. Some guy tried to hit me twice, and some 15-year-old girl was in my face all day long, cussing me out. And then they're talking about I'm flat-chested all over this place, calling me a hoe. I'm like, can I have a definition of flat-chested and a hoe, please? I'm not flat-chested, and I'm definitely not a hoe. Like, I haven't been with anybody in a long time. Okay, I'm confused. But it's all part of the thing. And Spirit's message to me was not that I was doing anything to cause this. You see what I'm saying? I'm like, what am I doing? Is my vibration low? Like, shit, did I get out of balance again? Like, why is this happening? I just had to check that because I am concerned about that. So what I rose, remember I changed the crystalline grid to masculine and feminine. Everything had to be returned back to masculine and feminine. Jesus and Mary Magdalene united. Adam and Eve are still united, even if not physical, energetically. So you guys, I keep seeing 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5 fives unequivocally, repeatedly, over and over and over again. Like, I need to highlight that. 5, 5, 5, 5s is changing timelines. Big changes are coming. So something else bigger is coming. Okay, like truly is, but there's a truly like a shift coming for all of us. And Spirit's literally like, this is preparation, like something's coming. Again, see what I'm saying? Release this, let it go. Don't let it stop your routine territory. Okay, so protect my energy, right? Protect myself and soar above it. Keep going, stay in balance. That's what they said. Okay, so it's truly unequivocally a distraction. My DM and I are probably both being attacked. If I were him, I would be careful. I don't know him. I don't know a situation. When mine died, I got a new one, 5, 5, 5, 5 again. So he is still in existence. I'm still connected that way because we have to be masculine and feminine, which is why I'm the one who united all twin flames. Holy shit, 5 5s again. This is insane. Okay. I hope it's all coming full circle and making so much sense. Oh, yeah, Amy, I remember that. She was, I went over one hurdle and have another just ahead. I will make it over. I remember that. I think your last message had something to do with 3, right? Gigi saw 3 falcons. Ooh. Oh my gosh, Donita got a paper the other day with 55555. Oh my gosh, you guys. Yeah, and Donna, it's funny because you've all been in my energy too lately. You keep popping in like little bits, and that definitely lets me know there's something going on. I love it. So you guys, this guy wants to kill me. He wants me to take my camera out of my window. 5555 again. Like seriously, and this 15-year-old girl's getting in my face calling me a hoe. I'm like, ugh. I'm like, y'all don't know who you're dealing with here. Because too, like, they don't. This guy is gonna get himself killed. But I think, and then we like found out he's a little bit mentally unstable, and so it put me into my crisis mode. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, so protections went up. Got my message from spirit. This guy is mentally not stable. Do I think they're definitely dark? Oh yeah, they say it all the time. They're like, I'm Satan. I'm like, oh my god. And with a 2-year-old on her hip, you're damn fucking right. And that's what I told Anthony a long time ago because they were cussing and screaming one night. And I texted him and I'm like, you have 2 little kids. Like, this is bothering me. I am a mandated reporter. Did I report it? Not yet. But I let him know, hey, you have kids there. Can you please stop cussing and screaming like this? Because my kids don't even like it. And he kind of snapped back, but they got quiet that night. So, yeah, with a 2-year-old on her hip, badass little 14, 15-year-old, 555555. And I've been like trying to look for places and I can't even find one. And I'm like, this sucks. Spirit's not letting me manifest a place yet. And I'm like, why? But it's all right. So, if my DM does watch these, please protect yourself. I will put protections around myself and for us, and I'm going to keep raising that vibration. I'm doing pretty good on getting back in balance. Like I said, it was a doozy. Okay. Uniting the twin flames by myself and having that blue light shoved in me actually did a number. It really did. Those were at the workshop. It wasn't a workshop. This one was live on Christmas. Duh. It's usually a workshop. So forgive me. It's crazy. But then I keep going back to the big dome light. So no matter what happens, I want you to imagine, okay, let's take something as big as the infrastructure that is not made of the light. What do they call that? The matrix. How big is that? Pretty freaking big. And so if it's going to crumble layer by layer, they've shown me when I first did these and I did my first workshop that I talked about, I saw the pillars of like the White House and the one with that statue behind it, because I never cared about this shit. All of it crumbled. It just crumbled. And I was like, oh, because I asked what the work I was doing meant. And that's what they showed me. That and some land crumbled and went into the water. And I was like, oh, shit. And then I activated pyramids and we got the first weird earthquakes. It was strange. So it is all divinely guided. The giants or the gods are taking care of it. So are the aliens. Like, seriously, like, isn't that funny? It's kind of like a Star Wars saga and a movie. So grab your popcorn, especially those that have done the work and are healing and getting rid of the pieces of the shadow and can see the light and are awake and aware and didn't, cut themselves off with the V, because that was the purpose of that. Okay. How many of us in truth have all had that sickness that went around and didn't die? Like a majority. And our households had it. We've gotten hit with it. My oldest son recently had it. His grandma, who was elderly and ill, had it. She's making it through. And so that's my point, right? It was like this fear. And so that's kind of what can get really scary right now as we watch all of this stuff occur, because it's not normal. And what the hell does it mean? And did I heal enough? And that's scary, right? Like, what do I got to do? And the thing is here's what Spirit has to say is we've already all had our life review. It was completed already over the last year because the timelines got thwarted anyways. And I was already supposed to unite Jesus and Magdalene a while ago. So your life reviews were already complete, okay? Meaning it's about what's in your heart. Are you a majority light or are you majority dark? You know what I'm saying? Like my DM did die. Why did he die? He had a hole in his heart. He didn't want to align with the light. He had a dark black hole in his heart in the end, okay? God had to pull his light back out of him. He had a choice. But that's the thing, it's all through free will. You have a choice. Okay? So all you got to do is just follow that heart space. And I talk about this. Just follow the heart space. Okay? And the weird thing is that neighbor guy talks about the fact that he's not going to die how God originally planned for him to die. My brother told me that. He said that to my brother. He's like, I'm going to be murdered. I'm not going to plan how God, or I'm not going to die how God wanted me to die. And that tripped my brother out. And it's just like these weird things. Like people can feel it. The energy is so dense and so intense. People, you have no choice but to feel it right now. You don't. The more light you have in you, you feel different things than you do if you have more darkness in you. They convinced people for lifetimes upon eons that we're supposed to be half dark and light. Please, please hear me. If nothing else, it needs to change right away in the infrastructure that we are not half dark and half light. We are not. The vibrations do not match. Think about that. Black is a very, very, very low vibration. Light is a very, very high vibration. The planet is becoming a very, very high vibrational planet that cannot house the dark. So if you want to stay half light and half dark, can you stay here? Do I have to answer that for you? Please hear that. Because if I didn't succeed at people understanding the return of Christ and seeing who brought it about and what it means and what it is and what the Holy Veil is, maybe they'll process it in time. Maybe we can at least understand now that please don't accept half dark and half light. That is a lie, and it will hurt you. 1111, 1111, right when I said that. Hopefully somebody just woke up. Okay? Okay. So, on that note, I was just seeing, I know I put donations on there, so I was checking. That other video of the blue dome was on Facebook, so I saved it on there. Let me see. Yeah.
Right now that many of my clients have been talking about. It's like this bluish white light that's just blanketing the earth. It's been blanketing the earth. You can feel it. It's raising the frequency of the inhabitants and the earth as well. And it's a very healing light all over, just trying to remove things that are unwanted from people and the earth as well.
At the same time, when you remove things, we have a tendency to cling a bit, and we
Right.
don't like change too much. So the chaos comes in our reaction to the fact that our own higher essence, our own higher self, is trying to remove these things from us.
That's perfect.
And that's being drenched in that light.
Right. Right. It's a very exciting time. But as far as the technology, this is really exciting because during Atlantis, we moved too far in our technology and we didn't have compassion. See, what's different about these times is that we're holding
See, people still don't see it all. They don't see everything, which is where I was at with Phil Good. He's like, we are all, I believe we're supposed to be half dark and half light. And I'm like, oh, spidey senses heightened. Holy shit, Batman, right? Like, crapsicles, Batman. Like, there's something still wrong. But then again, I'm reminded that we're all rising in certain times. And so the fact that he's getting downloads and things like that, that tells you that at least he's still connected, right? I'm hoping. But it reminded me that people don't realize that what I really did, right? Like, I spent this whole time, when you look at the collective shadow, I removed that like quite a while ago, right? Before I took us into 7D, and then before I took us really further into 7D. I mean, like, it's all there. The shadow they talked about many times is El Diablo. It is darkness. It has to be removed from us. Ego is not of the light. I will repeat that. Ego is something we've accepted. Oh, I'm half dark, I'm half light, and that's what I'm supposed to be. We've accepted this as it's been fed at us on a silver platter. We've been manipulated. Our masculine and feminine was ripped apart. The vibration of the planet was so low, that veil we talked about, we couldn't see through it. which I'm hoping it's all making sense now, because to me, that's my angst. I'm like, oh, hell, let's let people realize at least one part of this, right? Maybe you can't see the resurrection of Christ yet, or the fact that that was the return of the masculine and female, but at least see this, that vibrations of darkness and light do not match. People who have dark entities on them, they do not match a higher vibration. So I bring light in. Light is a higher vibration. People raise their vibration. Darkness cannot stay. They heal, right? You can't have depression in somebody who's high vibration. You can't. Entities can't attach in a higher vibration individual. So whenever I get attacked, part of what I do is heal and raise my vibration. I mean, I was being attacked by fallen angels because I'm the one clearing it. So my attacks were very, very painful. They're very real because I taught Amy how to heal in my academy, and she saved my life. Okay, when my twin flame and I was saving his soul, and it's not a joke, you guys, it's been quite a journey. I was attacked so bad that if I didn't have somebody who knew how to heal it in that moment, I was in big trouble. And yes, she did. It kind of freaked her out at that time because it was one of her first healings, by the way. One of Amy's first healings out of my academy, because I do a one-on-one academy. It's a little different from my alchemy academy. Sherry's in it now. Where in the end, I do healings with you. It's like you do healings. We do it kind of like an exchange a little bit. You learn how to heal in 5D and 7D. I don't teach 3D or baseline. Okay. So it's like intense. And then one of her first healings with me, I was attacked because the DM accepted me in that moment, really, truly, like he did. And the fallen angel attacked us both so bad. Like I can understand how bad he felt and how he couldn't make it out of that to survive. She said it scared me for sure, but pushed through it, and it was an amazing experience. So yeah, that's very true. In the end, it was mind-blowing for both of us because I didn't know what was happening. She didn't know what was happening. I just know I woke up in so much pain. Every chakra was obliterated. She pulled out the sword. I started like energetically vomiting this like stuffing looking stuff. It was the weirdest stuff. It was horrible. It was so painful. Then it was cockroaches. And then I was like trying to almost vomit for real from that. Like it was horrible. And all this repair had to occur for a very long time. All this black tar was removed off of me. Angels were helping. Like it's part of the journey. Okay. There was so many attempts to take me out. I guess that's why Spirit was surprised we made it, because not only did I make it, the DM still hasn't fully risen. And so I don't want to say that I was just pulling him through. That's harsh. And I love my DM. And I'm sorry if I ever say anything against him. And I will keep undoing any of that from what I was processing. Okay. But at the same time, I was pulling my DM through that. And while we were being attacked by a fallen angel, or actually Spirit says it was 3 at the same time. And so it was nuts. And when I tell you guys I almost died twice, that's real. Because that wasn't the time I got the blood clot. After we energetically combined and our chakras combined and all this weird things happened, and I did that all of a sudden meditation on YouTube 2 years ago, whatever it was, and we were supposed to unite the twin flames. All of the sudden, he wasn't showing. Spirit was like pushing messages on here for him to show, and he wasn't showing. He was my neighbor. He took off with the girl he was with, who was a fallen angel. And Spirit was like, they literally said, we didn't see that coming. Then they said, you got to follow to a T, basically. I don't remember exactly what they said. It was something like, follow everything we say. And I'm like, okay. And so I did. Like, it was very painful, and it was a rough fucking journey, okay? Once he died on August 30th of this year, the blue dome of light that I just shared with you guys is what was completed. You can watch that workshop on my channel. It was August 30th workshop is when my DM died and became a new DM. You can watch that whole process. It was weird. But in that one, when it happened, the angels and everybody were relieved. It was like this, and I saw the dome be completed. And the fact that lady was mentioning the dome and some other things, I'm like, yes. And What did I say to you is like some people are having a really hard time letting that go. Feel good is like, nope, I'm half dark and half light, and that's where I want to be. And so I will be surprised to see if he gets it and stays. That's not a joke because he's a light worker ish star. So he's like in between, I would say. It's interesting what he is. I'm not quite sure. But then that's explained by the half light and half dark. So you see what I'm saying? Consider it this. Break everything down to at least some kind of like logic in here, right? There is, because when you consider vibration, I've raised the vibration of the planet so far. That's what the ascension is. We've talked about it many times. Yes, all star seeds and light workers were helping with that, not let alone all the clearing of the darkness that I did, all the way down to taking it further, removing the entire collective shadow. You think the Euphrates River is any coincidence? No, it dried up at the time I was doing the work. When I cut off California to life support is when those rivers started drying up. You can actually probably pinpoint it in time. You see what I'm saying? And the shadow one, if you watch that video, you're going to see what I'm talking about, how I undid the collective shadow, and it was like this dark entity, and I had to pull the soul out of this being, and it was like a skin suit, and it just went and fell. It was during the workshop, and then I did this light language, and then the fire started. But I said the fires were going to start in there. Do you guys remember that? I had said, oh gosh, I see fires, I see fires, I see fires. And it was like, rah, I was like all intense. And lo and behold, all those fires were started by somebody. So I was like, holy shit. Like it was intense. 11101. The numbers in this video are insane. Like 5s and 1s everywhere. Like 11111 55. Yes. Yeah. GG's. I think you mean yes. You're remembering that. Yeah. So now, like Donita says, she's like, I've been waiting all these years to see the what I did and what it means. Right now, it's starting to happen, and there are no coincidences. I mean, come on. If you put all these things together, how can you deny it? The only ones who can't deny it are the ones who still want to believe that we are supposed to be half dark and half light. And even some of those still aren't denying the fact that this is not normal, right? I would love to know De La Roca's opinion on half dark and half light. Like, I'm really curious because when you watch my workshops, I have said unequivocally time and time and time again, the darkness is leaving. The darkness is leaving. When I activated the portal of time, I specifically said in that one, that's the Sphinx portal. It's now our way home. Some will hear the call from the heart and some will not. And those that cannot hear that will be removed. This planet can no longer be holding 222, 11222 darkness of any kind. We brought back Christ's light. I changed the blueprint of love. Okay. I aligned the masculine and feminine. I changed the crystalline grid of the earth to masculine and feminine because even that was changed over time. All right. And then not only are we going back to what once was Atlantis, I ascended that too. So where are we truly going to? I don't know. The one thing I request is we don't have to go to the bathroom anymore. Maybe a weird request, but in 7D, is that possible? I want to talk to some aliens. How about you all? Hey, do you guys go potty like we do? Please tell me you don't. Like, is that weird? I'm weird. That came out of the blue. It's totally random. Sorry. Like, it takes up my time and it's gross. And I'm like OCD. I need wet and dry, wet and dry. Little humor on the darkness situation, I guess. How many of you believe that there are aliens walking amongst you right now? Not only the ones that have already been here, because let me tell you, they always were. When I activated some of the pyramids, I don't remember which one it was. We were near the Atlantic Ocean, and I went in the water, and I had to undock this spaceship from the land. I remember saying it. It's in one of my videos. And I had to undock it, right? And I remember that. I remember seeing the beings inside. And the closest thing they remind me of, too, is what they call the grays. They looked like gray beings. There was no hair. They were very pale and bigger eyes, like they truly did. Yes, see, I believe they're absolutely here. They are. Juju says, yes, me. Even my son does. Like, even he's like saying things. He was like, Mom, I'm seeing these weird lights. And so I would consider that maybe there's a little bit of that going on with some of these things. All right, as much as your mind can take that. Some of you can only take a little bit of that. But I would consider that there are now good ones, very good ones here. The one that I originally docked during the activations was not the light. So can other aliens be lower vibrational and not belong here as well? Yes. So some of those are being evacuated, and I talked about that too. They're being vacated. I have mentioned they were going to be, remember? And when I anchored us into Pleiades Galaxy, this last workshop, one of the last workshops I did, we anchored into Pleiades Galaxy. I pixelated the Earth core stopped moving, which now they're actually saying it happened. I don't know about you, but I could feel that dense pull, right? When we anchored in there, where was I going with that? That's when they told me, and I think you guys will remember this, right? Maybe I'm sure you will too, because you mentioned it too before, is that they were already walking, they are now already walking amongst us, and the ones that can stay, right? Those were the ones they were paying the most attention to, getting to know us. They were getting acclimated with our Earth and who we are as a species because we've now anchored into their system. And so consider that. We've got weird ones from 7D Pleiades on our planet right now. And in my channeled message, you are not alone in space and time. Okay? Yep, and Amy says, yes, this is from the last workshop. Yeah, I took us into, so we were anchoring in, I added in more poles, I pixelated the Earth again, I stopped her from spinning in the workshop. You can watch it. I think I posted that one, didn't I? I don't know, did I not? I stopped the Earth from spinning, put more poles in. We're going to be pulling in like up to 12, no, at least 12 more planets over like the next time period. So consider like a 10-year time period. I don't know. Their time is not like our time. So whenever they give you time, it's not going to line up specifically all the time. But they said they were nervous because it's never been done before. Nobody's ever commandeered a planet and raised the vibration so much and took it into another galaxy and anchored it in and added poles. Like, it's weird. 22 moons and 12 planets. Yeah. And then there's like, yeah. So yeah, what she said. And then there was a video of this guy seeing 2 moons in the sky one time, I remember recently too, after that one, like literally recording it going, what is that in Kentucky? And he's like, wait, the moon's over here. And he's like, wait, what is that? And it's like, the moon's over here. And he's like, wait, what is that? And that's what he was like trying to process, the fact that we had 2 moons in our sky. And so I guess, yeah, when I took us into that galaxy, they said that we were going to be incorporating a lot more planets into our system. So we're going to still keep the planets we had, but they're all ascending, and we're going to be incorporating more planets within our system. We are. So yeah, and I guess I mentioned 22 moons and 12 planets, which I don't remember, but I'm sure it's in the video. If I didn't upload that one, maybe I should. Or you can buy it too. All the past workshops that I didn't post are still, because I didn't post every single one. Some of them are here, though, for you guys to see. But, and then they said that they were already amongst us, studying us, basically getting to know us. Like, who are you in our galaxy? What are the behaviors we've now watched? And so if you think for a second they're going to allow a nuclear explosion to occur within their new space, So is the white balloon aliens? I don't think so. Okay. But do I think there's something going on more than meets the eye? Absolutely think so. Okay. You're watching a few things happen. We're being assisted by galactic beings. Okay. And the structures are starting to fall. So is it a coincidence that we're starting to see more alien activity of a different kind right when things are starting to derail, pun intended? Mic drop. I just like that. That was funny. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is great. This makes so much sense to me because I know all the work that I did, but it's also very validating. It's like all these things coming full circle. That lady talking about that dome of light and the energy, it's my dome. I created it from Christ's light. I don't remember Do you guys remember when I started creating the dome of light? It had to do with me and the twin flames reuniting. That's the return of Christ. When me and my DM united and God married us, he said that's the return of Christ. That's not the only part of it. It was also Jesus and Mary Magdalene. So then I ask you, is it just different lifetimes of his and mine being represented and we're all the same? Now that's some mind-blowing shit right there, right? That's what I'm processing lately. It's like, are you kidding? Like, what? Who does weird? Once we united all that energy, the dome was complete. So I don't remember when I started creating the dome, though, because my DM was, our ascension was bypassed and I had to create different timelines. It started with a white dome, then gold, then blue. So I started it in layers, and it wasn't complete until he died on August 30th because he wouldn't leave the fallen angels. He wouldn't. He developed a black hole in his heart. He was still refusing to come. He was hurting me really badly, especially with my videos. He started really hurting with my videos and stuff. And that's when they gave him a choice. August 30th, if you watch that video, it's posted on here of this last year. You can watch that, okay? He died. They took his soul out of his body. God was like, get over it, Bree. Like, we got to move on. Put it into my new DM. His soulmate part of his soul went somewhere else. It went into something else. He went backwards. And that way my twin flame soul part went into a new soulmate. And that's my new DM. I haven't met yet, but he's well aware of who I am. Apparently he watches me on here sometimes. All the time. See what I'm saying? And then so August 30th in that video is when that dome was completed. So let's just imagine a dome of Christ light around us. And what they're going to depict to you is complete sudden chaos and war. And we should all be in fear. And I said that recently too. It's like they're going to push more fear. So please don't get caught up in a World War III. The World War III was the spiritual warfare in which we have already won. I did it. It was completed with the return of Christ on Christmas Day, the final completion of the return of Christ. Started with me and my DM and completed with Jesus and Mary Magdalene. Watch all my videos. It's there. I'm not making it up. This is what I've had to process. It's insane. And then I hear people like Phil Good say, I accept we're half dark and light. And I'm like, oh no. Is he not going to die? Come on, dude. Shake you awake. Shake you awake. Please. Then I'm realizing that so many people still believe that. And if you watch the work that I do, you can't deny that that is false. That's what I've been removing for 3 years now. Started with the spell casting workshop, United We Stand, United They Fall. I want to find that because I said more stuff in it. I even sent it out to all the people who participated in that very first workshop, were part of that academy I came through. Pamela was one of them. What was her name? She had curly hair and an accent, and she was in the academy. What was her name? She didn't like me very much, I don't think. And I can't remember her name. She had a very tough, it was a strong accent. She had very curly hair, and she does like the sister womanhood one. She was in that workshop. Rafaela Bona, I think, or something like that. She got a copy of it. So I don't know if she still has it. She did that workshop with me, my very first one. It was witnessed. And I didn't know what I was doing. And Archangel Gabriel was like, this really is just, like, said something funny in it. Like, I realized now it was my creation. Like, I wrote that all. That was my spell. Because now they tell me I create those spells. So I'm like, okay. But it was this total, like, 1.5 to 2 pages thing. And in it, it said, all will rise to be seen. United we stand. United they fall. And that's where it started. Then I started doing things like I went to the White House. I don't know if you want to call it astro traveling. I do something more than that. Okay, so I had my awakening, and I started doing these healings. Okay, that's how it was coming through. All of a sudden, I could read people's energy. I knew what ailments they had, and I knew how to heal them, and nobody ever taught me. And I tried to ask the lady Corinne on my academy what was happening to me, and she straight said, "You don't need my help." And I was like floored. It took me forever to figure out what I was doing. But I can literally close my eyes, my head kind of drops, and I'm outside of my body. And I see myself as this like white, it's almost like my soul, okay? I don't know what you want to call it, astral traveling in the daytime, right? That's kind of what I compare it to. and I end up where these people are, and I can run light through them. I can touch them. I see what they're wearing, which I would always confirm with them. You're wearing this. And then they're like, holy hell, how do you know that? And it blows their mind. I have journals of that. That's what my awakening was. So when God told me I was going to change the world, that's what I thought. Cool. I see what caused Parkinson's. I did. I was running light through. I can see what caused it. I was healing it. All kinds of stuff, right? And so I was journaling that. So I thought that's all it was. Then that translated into the earth in a very big way. Then I cleared Mount Shasta on 11/11 of 2020. Okay, I went to the White House in my astral projection state one time, and I took him a paper. I don't know what was on the paper. I remember walking through the grassy, like in front of it, and I remember there was a porch. And I remember seeing people on the porch, and they were wearing like these dark jackets, and they had like these things and this thing in their ear and khaki looking pants. I remember that, and I'm like, don't see me. It was like a feeling of, oh God. And this was really happening. Like I was meditating, went outside my body, and literally traveled. And I remember telling Pamela about this, but I don't have that message anymore. So I'm like, go ask these people. It was real. But I saw this, and the next thing I know, I was in this office, and it was like the Oval Office, but it wasn't. This was one you've never seen before. So like their personal office or something. And Mr. T was at a table, and people were around me, and I knew this was like really happening. And I had this feeling of, what do they see, but don't catch me. Like, well, who did I look like? Did I embody another person? I still don't have the answers, which is why I would love to be hypnotized. Please do. Again, I want more answers. Please hypnotize me if it works. But I slid this paper. I don't know what was on the paper, though. To this day, I couldn't see it. It was upside down. And I slid it on the table. And Mr. T took it and slid it under an envelope. And then years later, there was some weird document search investigation warrants. I don't know. To me, that felt related. I still don't know what was on that document. Okay, and I still didn't know it was coming. Then they were like, don't take the V. And I was like trying to figure out all what was happening to me. Cleared Mount Shasta, which was like hundreds of souls out of there. I sat on Saturn and rose Atlantis with Hermes, the god, which I didn't even know of at that time. And he gave me this belt with like these wings on it. And sitting on Saturn was insane. I tried to get somebody to explain that to me, but nobody understood it. Although I was told Saturn was karma. And that's when I started learning about that. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, use the energy of Saturn. And that was when Saturn was at its closest point to the Earth. That was the exact same time when it was a big deal that Saturn was at its closest point to the Earth, is when I did that meditation, and I sat on Saturn and I rose Atlantis. But not only did that, I had to clear my contract, saw my soul rise and how I died, and started the process of learning truly who I was. So yeah, this is very real. That's part of my story. Pretty big deal, right, guys? So just keep in mind, we are protected, and the right ones will stay. Okay, but stay safe, because some dude wants to kill me and tried to punch me twice today. And then and did I tell you he's now calling the cops on me every time I go outside? This is going to be fun. I'm not supposed to go outside of my apartment, according to him. And I'm supposed to remove my cameras from my window. And he called the cops on me twice now when I went outside. So DM, if you ever would take it seriously that I'm not safe without you, neither are you. So, bubble of light, right? Lightning strike that shit. You probably don't have any idea what I'm talking about. You have to come to me to learn all this shit. I don't know what to tell you. Come to me and I'll teach you. I'll protect you. Protect me. That would be great. But no, I'm just going to do my best. I'm not going to let it derail the balance, because I think that's an attempt to that. So I don't know. Maybe my DM is making moves towards me, and that's what created the rumble in me being attacked. I don't know, right? It's hard to say. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing or anything. I just know every time we go to unite, there's always something like that. And we have to push through that. So I'm sure there will be people telling him, oh, don't, they'll threaten him. They'll hold something against him. Anything they can do to keep us apart is always the thing. So I'm like, what is happening? And they're like, stay in balance, territory balance, let it go. Keep in your routine, because if I get out of that, it really puts us all in danger, because I'm housing both masculine and feminine, and I'm not supposed to be. I still have a twin flame that is alive that I have not met yet. And he was supposed to come for Christmas. And so uniting those two by myself hurt. It hurt. And then I purged it all by myself. So I've literally done the work of 2 people for the entire ascension. But we made it. We survived. And you can't wait to actually see an alien. I wonder if I'll get to. You never know. I don't know. Or new planets. Like, keep our eyes to the skies. Keep your eyes to the skies. Don't be distracted. They're going to keep distracting, and they're going to try to lower the vibration because that is the only hope they have to survive. Because if you are of a lower vibration, you have darkness in your heart. That's what's measured for the ascension. We all had the shadow to heal. I've told you that. When I cleared the collective shadow, I don't remember when that was done. That's on my channel. I cleared the collective shadow. It is the one that says this is the most important workshop I've done, clearing of the collective shadow. That is when I told everybody that we have to heal that shadow now. You have to in order to ascend. That's all the darkness. I removed it all. It's got to go bye-bye. Yeah. And unfortunately, we can't stop people from killing themselves. I try all the time. Sometimes we succeed. Sometimes we can't in the moment. And so please, there is a lifeline. If we can just hold the space and time when we feel those emotions and it's so overwhelming and we just can't take it anymore and we see no goddamn way out and there's so much pain that we're trying to process and we don't understand and it's so heavy. There is always somebody to reach out to. Dial 988 and you may reach me sometime. You never know. Doubtful. I don't know how long we'll stay there, but there's many people that will help you because sometimes we just need a friend. Sometimes we need somebody who will listen and who will care and who will just be there to hear our pain so we can process that pain because that's a big deal. Okay. So if you know somebody that's like that or you feel that way sometimes, know that there is healing for you. It's possible. It is possible to heal that and to feel good again, I promise you. And if you give it space and time and find the proper avenues to let in that light and remove that trauma and that pain and that shadow, the things we have deemed acceptable, the ego, the shadow, it's all fucked. Judgments, so heavy, and it's wreaked havoc on our souls. Okay, dial 988. That is the crisis and suicide lifeline. But are we having a rise in that energy? Yes. And it's going to continue that way. Because there is a push on all of our souls. There is this pressure. It's like a pressure cooker. And it's made to make the energies rise so they can fall. The problem is some of us are really deep in them and we don't see clearly. And we don't always have people who care. Sometimes some of us have people who hurt us in truth. Okay? So reach out to neighbors too. Like pay attention, you guys, because there may be people around you that you're not seeing as having this come through. And even with my neighbor, he said something about, I'm deemed crazy. And the cop was like, he's in a cycle. And I'm like, crisis mind kicked in. I'm like, this is a crisis. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, everything makes sense now. But it's kind of ironic that he's coming after me and he's targeted me now, right when all this is happening too. So there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of major energies pushing and rising and pulling and going. And it's because dark and light are 2 different vibrations. The earth is too high of a vibration and our bodies must comply. Heal your shadow. Heal your shadow. Feel good. Heal your shadow. Because please don't accept half dark and light. That is the biggest lie that they have ever fed you, next to the V helping you feel better. Cutting you off from the light. That's what that does. Okay? It's what it was made for. Changes your DNA. You hear people talk about that. Cuts you off from the light. I know, and healing's on it. Also changes your cells into like almost what looks like sickle cell anemia. Oxygen can't bypass you. Your heart gets messed with. You can't reproduce genetically anymore. Can't have babies a lot anymore. That's one of the long-term effects of it. There's multiple. And that's from the healings I did on people. I've only gotten to do a few. Only a few have come forward for one. Okay? This is a reality we face. It's like, and Roger, I'm so glad you were here tonight too, because I feel like you learned something too. It's like we are not half dark and light. We are part of the whole, which is masculine and feminine. God is both masculine and feminine. Mankind should be both masculine and feminine. Jesus and Mary Magdalene are twin flames, masculine and feminine. Adam and Eve were twin flames, masculine and feminine, which is who I am, which is who my DM is all part of that. Okay, that is the return of Christ. When we brought down the Christ light, we were uniting masculine and feminine. Dark is being pushed out. They showed me a while ago the yin and the yang is not half dark and half light. It should be a balance of masculine and feminine power. Okay? Donnie, I will be safe. I do have some people watching out for me. My brother is here, so I'm not alone right now, right? And I'm not taking my camera out of my window. That's just really stupid. And when I go outside, I'm trying not to be alone as much as I can, but I can't really help that. I feel like I'll just, I'll do what I do. And I'm going to keep raising the vibration. I'm not going to let it thwart me, right? If my DM would come, that wouldn't happen to me anymore. And I know that beyond a shadow of a doubt. And with him being gone, they told him he's unsafe. So I also worry about him too. But it's like I said recently, you guys remember the videos that I did recently about, that asshole energy. It's very true. That's the asshole energy I'm referring to. He is just an embodiment of it, this neighbor guy, right? He's always wanting to hurt somebody. Maybe he did get a really bad head injury in war and he's stuck there. I don't know, right? It's possible. So it's the asshole energy that rises and it tries to take you the fuck out. Okay. It's the half dark that we've all become so unequivocally to believing that we belong in, and we don't. It's like going to church and them feeding you the same shit that killed Jesus. Because remember, I told you he was poisoned by John the Apostle with bread and wine, with arson. What was it, cyanide? I always freaking remember which one. I just know the feeling of it. It was a very powerful poison, and it took 20 minutes to eat all of his insides, and he bled from all of his orifices. Then they created this church infrastructure where they're like, hey, come have communion. We're going to anchor you into that same shit we put into the darkness and created the Holy Grail out of, and you don't even realize. Ha! Drink this or drink this wine or Kool-Aid, whatever you get, and eat your little crackers. And little do you know that we're more anchoring you into darkness and light. Then what do they also tell you? Oh, he died for your sins. You're forgiven. Don't worry. Oh. God doesn't judge or not forgive. He always loves you. He can't help if you don't accept the light. Free will, right? And that's what they would manipulate. It's all there, and it makes so much sense to me now. Everything has become full circle now into who I am and what I've done along this, because it's all on my channel. It plays out over the years. Like, the people that are commenting now have been with me over the years. They've witnessed it all as I've witnessed it unfold. And now it's all full circle. And it's right there. And we can't deny it. Judgment Day is very real. Please don't accept half dark and light. If anything else, that is my biggest message. Because if you do, I don't know what that means for you. Heal your shadow. Follow the light. This earth will not remain any darkness on it. Atlantis didn't have that. They try to blame it on technology, when in truth, before we became that way, it removed, right? So what I told you is Adam and Eve got removed. They were the twin souls, and the imbalance occurred, and the balance could not get corrected. The poles were shifted, and everything fucking flooded. And God gave a warning probably to Noah's Ark. I do believe that. Like, I do. Some of those stories are real. I do believe he actually sent warnings out that this was coming, but I don't believe he caused it. It's because freaking fallen angels came down after fighting with God and trying to take God's power, took apart Adam and Eve, took apart Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and you were all fucked. Then we had this veil we had to fight through to get through to the light, to get through to love. And everybody thinks it was intentional. Everybody thinks, oh, we just kind of became corrupt. It was the fallen angels. And then you put Euphrates River together. And if you listen to the shadow workshop that I did, I described something that kind of reminds me of Euphrates River. Now that I'm putting that together, because when I was noticing, somebody said Euphrates River dried up. So I kind of looked it up, and there's like these weird like tunnels in it. And when I did that workshop, I said I was somewhere weird, but I think I said over near Africa. I didn't feel solid in Africa. I was just in a different location. And I said I went down in these tunnels, and I was hearing like this moaning, like this, oh, and I remember seeing this video about the Euphrates River that people could hear that in there. So now I'm like putting everything together. If you watch that workshop and pay attention to the Euphrates River, I really do feel like they coincide. And I feel like that's where Jesus was like murdered. Okay. Somebody told me he was murdered at the Garden of Eden. That's not so. Somehow they left that space. Like it expanded out. Atlantis was like more than that. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, it's quite mind-blowing. I love it. It's quite interesting. But the facts are there. Like, I can't deny it. I can't deny the work to what's happening within the earth now. Like, it's all there now. It's all coming full circle and actually playing out as I've said it would, which is so insane, right? It's nuts. And then you look at the videos about the asshole energy and the psychic attacks. And then my neighbor's like trying to attack me, and Lord knows what's going to happen in my DM. So I don't think I'm the only one who has to be safe. If you've got light in you, I feel like you can be a little bit of like a, you know what I mean? Stand out. People see that. And the ones that might be a little pissed off because they know that they're on their way out. So that's the thing, is my neighbor was even telling my brother he didn't die. He doesn't think he's going to die the way God originally planned for him. And I'm like, he doesn't know who I am or the work that we've done or what's been coming through, because they won't look at it. They just think people like us are crazy. But yet he'll literally sit there and tell my brother that he's not going to die the way God planned for him, which was weird. And then he started attacking me. What the fuck? Right? So all I can tell you is the structure system is beginning to fall in a very big way. And it's layer by layer. Gigi says, it has all been such an interesting journey, and I have been part of this. Yes, she has, for a very long time. So much healing the earth and me. Thank you, Bree, for your courage to be the one to lead us through this. Aw, Gigi. See, that's the thing, is I don't think I could have done it without you guys either. You guys, the ones who've been with me through the whole entirety of it, I'd have been quite lost without you. And I know I've lost a couple along the way, especially when the twin flame thing hurt and I get judged and they kind of fall out. But even they meant the world to me. Like, this journey was not easy. And I think it's affected us all, right? Like, we've all had trials and tribulations. So thank you guys for being you and sticking there. And when things did seem crazy to all of us, we still kept staying the course and following that light and letting things be proven and play out over time. And we never got lost in the space of judgment and angst and hate and jealousy towards each other. So for those, I thank you. You mean the world to me. And without you, I wouldn't have succeeded. There's no way. Because it's not easy, is it? Can we attest and agree that it's not easy to see past that? It isn't easy to want to let go of that, is it? It's not. But those of us who are doing it, you're my soul tribe, the ones that can see the light beyond the darkness, beyond the confusion that they'll always try to mind fuck you with. And they will use your heart against you. It's like what they were yelling some major profanities about me. And I'm like, they don't even know me. That guy's never seen my body, barely looks at me at all, never talked to him before, never really been face to face with him. And he's saying I'm flat chested. If you know me, I'm almost a double D. I'm not flat chested. And so his attacks were quite hurtful, quite personal, and led me to a place of extreme vulnerability, like immediately, if you know what I mean. Like, that's what I'm talking about. And the moment I was able to like regroup and not allow that to cut me down anymore and make sure, because I truly feel like the attempt was to get me off of balance again, because I'm regaining that balance. And I'm regaining my balance on this channel. and in my heart-based action. And you know what that means, right? So I'm just not going to let it get to me. However, the only request that I have is that my DM hears me, he stays safe, and he comes home. But I'm not sitting here waiting either. I'm still doing me. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. I'm going to keep doing the work. Okay? So I'm not going to let it stop me. And there was definitely something way off there. Like, the tack was so empty but very vicious. And so that's generally speaking how darkness works. Comes from a shocking place. Like, what? You know what I mean? And it cuts you to the bone. And that's why people will go against their free will, 4, and make those choices that puts darkness within your soul. Then they would feed you and tell you, no, we're supposed to be half dark and half light. We have to be. If you think logically about that, you cannot survive that way. Not in an ascension, especially. Maybe on a very low vibrational planet. Okay, that's where we were. And that would keep us there. That would keep us there, but we can't. All the work's been done. The dome's complete. The Sphinx is open. Portals were activated. Giants are roaming. They're gods. I mean, if you watch my God portal video, you'll know what I'm talking about. And then the lightning struck the right house in real time. Like, it's all there. It's insane. I love it. So the gases keep sticking out to me to the derailment. Are people going to have a hard time surviving on parts of this planet as we go? Yeah. And I've said that. That's why it was a big deal to me when I cut off California life support, and I kept saying that. Now the lakes have been drying up since then, which is life support. I specifically said I cut off life support to California, which means it's on a time limit. Lots of things are, and we've talked about that. And I undid the false concept of time, and when I think things are speeding up now, okay? And so it's like one after the other, boom, 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 boom. When I also activated one of the workshops that I did where I activated new chakra systems, I took us into 7D the first time. Where was I going with that? They said it was going to be about a year's time to see everything that I've done. So that means the ramifications of the work that I've done are going to play out into the entirety of this year. And that video was like 6 months ago, I think, or something like that. It's on my channel. You can look it up. I activated dormant chakra systems, and that is when we went into 7D. So the Earth now has, 33 chakra systems? Something like that. And that's also when they told me that I was basically Adam and Eve. But I activated dormant chakra systems that time. Do I remember that one? I do. And that is, they specifically said in there that we will see all of the totality of what I've done over the year. Does that mean that the changes won't continue past that year? Oh, it will just continue and continue until we're fully a complete evolutionary cycle of it to where we're supposed to get to. Does that make sense? But the totality of what I've done over the last 3 years, you will completely see over this year. Now, keep in mind, their time is not our time. It's like linear. It's like non-existent. It's moldable. Our time was denser. And so when they say a year, could be a year and a half, could be a little less than a year. But the pace that it's going, I would put it through all of 2023. And that lines with the structure system falling. And so we're seeing the train derailments now, and that's part of it. The gases there are going to affect certain places. If you think one thing is going to wipe out the whole entire planet, please don't. That is a fear. That is not the reality. Could the planet explode? Yeah, possibly. I anchored us into a new galaxy. That's not normal. If you watch that one, they said that we don't know the outcome, but we're pretty safe. There's a lot of protection. The Earth is moving with it. So the more we can keep loving the Earth, the better. And I remember that, keeping the balance going. That's why when I get out of balance, it's so detrimental for the collective whole. It's a big deal. It really is. And so it's a lot on me. Fuck, if I can't mess up, right? Shit, can I take a vacation for a week? And Spirit's like, ha, 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 ha. Psh, psh. No, I'm just kidding. That's just how I feel. soon as my guard's down, I'm being attacked by everybody, including this big white dude that's like spitting in my face, whiskey breath and spit, and his eyes are like nothing there. There was like no soul. It's insane. A zombie, maybe. I don't know. No. Yeah. And so the ones that are cut off from the light, we've talked about that. They are the zombies. That's where you get that classification. And then look up the Hopi prophecy. So what's coming next is pretty big because I'm being attacked left and right. I've talked about that lately. It was the asshole energy one, the psychic attack video. Those were all relevant. I am being attacked continually. And all it takes is one individual picking up that asshole energy and throwing it at you. Okay. And that can be jealousy. It can be greed. It can be any kind of thing. It can be thoughts that they're just thinking and this feeling that they're giving and throwing it at you. That's a psychic attack. Okay. Because we're all energy and powerful. Right. Keep that in mind. And so when that energy comes about, it may not be yours. Don't hate yourself. Don't nothing. Just automatically throw love out of it and get out of it. Raise your vibration. Okay. That's when we pick those up. And so that's what I mean. Look at Hertz music. Look at everything. We cannot house darkness and light anymore at all. Please do not accept that. I mean, if you do what's on you, I can't force you. That's free will. Spirit will never force anybody. And that's why everybody's like mad at me because the DM won't show. But it's his own free will. He has to choose heart-centered love over everything else that's being thrown at him. And my DM really has a challenge. It's like evil really can come at you, But he has to choose love over that. And that's what I mean. It has to come from free will. And it's a growth. So it's a challenge we all have to accept to ascend. And that's what that one video with the dome lady was talking about. Some of us really don't want to let it go. Look at Feel Good. He just literally said, I accept that I'm half light and dark. Do you think the light's going to be able to go where he does? Spirit says no. You cannot mix dark and light. Dark cannot go where the light is going, and light cannot go where the dark is going. There is a complete separation. That is the only division that is occurring because God is not dark. We are not meant to be. We are masculine and feminine united in love and light. Does that mean we all don't learn through challenges of life? We still will. You know what I'm saying? I, for one, want to get to a space where we don't have to go to the bathroom. Can we please evolve to there? That was a weird request. I'm going to keep putting it out there. I know they talk about that, or is that just movies? Like there has to be aliens out there or something that don't go to the bathroom. Maybe they just excrete through sweat. Ew, would that be gross too, though? I don't know. Weird conversation. I keep taking it there. I don't know. That's the only thing that it kind of keeps me in that funny ha-ha space of it, because when I really get engulfed of it in a mental space, I do kind of sometimes think I am crazy. I've done psychological evaluations through this process because it's weird. It's a lot and it's not normal. And being the one who brought it about, everybody's not going to see that. And I have pressure on me that I have to put it out there, right? Let's get people to rise in it and stuff. And so that's why I'm like, please let go of the dark. I don't want to fail in waking people up. Let go of the dark. Let's all let go of the dark and go have a glass of wine. You can't have a glass of wine. That doesn't mean you're dark. Oh, it's nuts. So all I can say is follow those nudges. If you can't follow the heart-centered action, you may miss a mark. You know what I'm saying? We may miss where, hey, I got to get out of this place because I don't know what's coming here a month from now. And then the next thing you know, some explosion or an earthquake happens. Like, that's real, okay? Those who are meant to stay will stay. I channeled what Judgment Day was a while ago. And Spirit literally said, some will go, some will stay, and some will never know life this way. That's it. And karmic. It's karmic. We reap what we sow. So it's in your heart. How much light is in your heart? How much dark is in your heart? Please don't accept that you're half and half. We can't be there. That's what Judgment Day is. So if God's judging your heart for how much darkness is in it, where you're going with that, what does that tell you? I had a life review. We all have. Mine was done during my twin flame process when I was trying to, I had to actually resurrect his soul. Like, what did I do? Like, I freed his soul from the darkness. And during that time, I mentioned, I feel like I'm in a life review, and I absolutely unequivocally was. And they said my heart was pure light and his had a black hole in it. They told me that then. And in the end, he chose not the light, unfortunately. We lost a good one. We really did. Because he wasn't what was being presented in his heart in the beginning. He just let too much dark in, and he didn't want to let it go. And so that should tell you right there where we're at. Right? That was when the dome was completed. So because my new DM loved me so much that God saw this plan and they developed this plan, and that's what they told me is we have a plan, and I didn't know the plan. They knew. They saw this man before I saw this man. I don't know him still. He somewhat knows me. That alone makes me love him greatly. That alone gives me much respect for him. Because even he has not had an easy journey. So my new DM has had a death and a rebirth in a very big way. On August 30th. That's why I say he was just born. It's a big deal. Okay, so I just request that, hey, let me speak the truths here, right? Stay in balance, stay heart-centered, stay at the light, follow the light, follow the light. You guys remember 2 years ago, too, I said, be careful what you anchor into. That was a big deal. I kept pushing that. Be careful what you anchor into. Because if you anchor into the darkness, you can't stay. What is darkness? Let's consider this. Jealousy, greed, hurting people, right? Anything that hurts people is not of the light. Judgments are very much so not of the light. Okay, that's why the true healer has no judgments, right? There's no worry about opening up to them because the only thing they want to do is heal you. They can see why you do the things that you do, which is why I'm good at the jobs that I do, right? Like I don't have any baseline of judgments. Like, girl, I've been there. Let's heal this. You know, you can see why people struggle, where the light truly lies. Do not accept that you are half dark and light, please. That is the one main thing I'm asking for you. Even if you can't see the resurrection or what's really going on yet, I'm hoping that after this video, we can find the acceptance amongst the collective whole that we cannot remain dark on here at all. It's masculine and feminine in the yin and the yang and the removal of the dark. Okay? It is no, and I remember talking about that a few months ago. Spirit put that message through on my Facebook that we were duped about the yin and the yang. It is not half dark and half light. It is masculine and feminine. That was what was removed from this planet. Look what they did to women. Look who ruled the planet. Look at the divisions. The only division left is dark and light, and it has to go. Everything of the light and love will remain. Scratch that. Some will go, some will stay. Some will never know life this way. Depicts that some will even ascend on the other side and start a new lifetime in the new world. Okay? So not everybody will remain. When I first realized who I was and what I was bringing about, I panicked. Sean reminded me a while ago, one of the last times I talked to him, he remembered that I was freaking out because I was going to kill a lot of people. And I blew out my own solar plexus. And Spirit had to make me hold off on my workshops because they had to fix my solar plexus. And I had to accept that everything is free will. That even though I am the one who brought it about, I cannot make people hear me. I cannot make people do the work. And I cannot make them ascend. But I am all about opening my door for anybody who wants to. And I will keep putting the correct information out. But I brought about what I had to, because that was my life purpose. That's what I am. That's what I came here for. And my whole life has revolved around it, and I can look back and see that now. I didn't understand it then, but I can look back and see it now. So it's a big deal. Okay? So let's keep healing. Let's keep loving each other. Let's keep learning what unconditional love is, because I'm still learning today. And my new DM is teaching me new things, believe it or not, about deeper forms of unconditional love. And I can only hope that I'm doing the same for him. And that is where we should be. Okay? Learning about love. What is unconditional love? What is acceptance of each other? Wholehearted acceptance of each other, of who we are, of where we were, of the shitstorm we've all eaten, and that we have to now shit out, basically. And the acceptance of that. And that we're going to need each other going forward. No matter if you're purple, green, yellow, blue, black or white, Mexican, Spanish, historically Asian, I don't know what they want to call you, what you think you are. I'm a mutt. I've got quite a few things in me. Native American, I love you all. And we're going to all need that love. We're going to all need to love each other. The universal language is love. And music, but love. Music is also really good. Sorry. It's like it's an essential part of existence, in my opinion. So universal language can be music, but it's also love. I love you. Can be quite understood no matter what you know, speak, or feel. Can also save a life. So if somebody you know is suicidal all of a sudden, or is scared, 3 simple words. I love you, and you're not alone. That should be our focus. I think the more we do that, the more we can wake people up in the fact that we're not half dark and half light. Because if even Phil Good is not seeing that at this point, he's choosing some of that darkness, and that scares me a little bit. But it also explains why I never watch his videos. I just know some of his titles pop up in my feed. Like when my DM first hurt me and took off with the fallen angel, he literally did the video, "We're doomed." Like the next day. And De La Roca did a video on Twin Flames of "Don't accept the darkness." Like, this is not good. Like, this is bad. And so they both did videos at the same time about that. But Phil Goods was like, "We're doomed. It's over." And I got on my videos and I was like, "No, we're not. It's all good. I got this. I got this." Lo and behold, you guys, I made it out the other side. And I did the work of 2. I did. But my DM does have something to do. He does. And he is supposed to protect me. So this I pray for. And please be safe. Okay? All right, you guys. This was a pretty awesome video today. There was so much information in here. And it went ways I didn't expect it to go. And I'm so, so happy all of you were here. Like, I really, truly am. I got to see Donita and Gigi and Amy, and even Roger was here today. So Roger, before I go, do you remember the last time I said I was going to give you a free message if you made it to my live? I didn't lie. Are you still here? Would you like a free message? I feel like, though, you got part of the message that you needed today. Okay. So they are saying you got part of the message you needed today. I feel like you had a little bit of an awakening today. Okay. So that's good. They're calling for my Moonology deck, which is masculine, because there is an imbalance. Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay. So you have a message from a loved one. You've been asking for your mom to come through. Is that right? You've been literally asking for your mom to come through. She is like the Spitfire. She's like kind of small, kind of like blondish sandy hair I'm seeing. Okay, so are you okay with a message from her? Okay, and yeah, you've been asking for her to come through. So she's standing over your left side, then she'll go to your right. And so she does this thing where she'll tap your shoulder, but she'll be over here. She likes to play games with you. She likes to make you laugh. That's her message to you. A lot of chills, sorry. She liked to make you laugh. Okay, she was a Spitfire. She knew she wasn't. She knew she was going soon. She didn't tell you. Okay, so she knew it was coming. She didn't tell you because she didn't want to worry you. And she knew that you would try to make her get help. So she, like, in other words, what she's saying is she knew what she knew. Was it a heart attack or something? She knew, and she knew you were going to try to make her get help. But it was almost like it was it's a heavy message, okay? I know you feel like I've left you alone and that there's nobody right beside you. But rest assured, my sunny boy, as I am delightfully guiding you, I will never leave your side. I am always here, and I had to come on this side to help you. I knew it was my time, and you are not alone. And if you will Humbly so, she says, because it's only if you want to. But she's giving you nudges. She's leaving you things. So I feel like there was something out of place. There was something out of place. A book or something was out of place and it caught your attention. There's little things that are keep catching your attention, but the grief is heavy and you're having a hard time seeing them. You've smelt her or something. Like there's been a couple times where you're like, is that her? But then it almost makes you feel a little lost because you're not sure if that's what you're reading. She's validating these things for you. She is giving you nudges. She says, please follow them through. Do not doubt them. She says you question a lot and she feels partly responsible for that. She loves playing tricks with you. She loves getting you like, ha ha ha, that's funny, you got me. Like, ha ha ha, that's funny, you got me. Like, I feel like that. And she's going to continue doing that. And there is a woman and she's trying to line you that way. So please pay attention. Even if you're like, was that really a nudge? Were you really there, Mom? She hears you. She's validating some things, okay? Like without getting too personal because it's people's private space. But she sees you. She hears you. She's been with you in those moments that you have been calling out to her. You've been asking for her. She says, please don't be frustrated. It was my time. And if it wasn't that, it would have been something else a few months down the road that could have been worse. And she says she took the out because now she can help you from the other side. Also, something about your brother. You have a brother? So she's also trying to get a message about your brother, his health. And I think I've tuned into this before. She says I have. She says it needs to be taken pretty seriously. I have been smelling perfume here and there. Oh my gosh, Roger. I can't validate that any better for you. I'm sorry that came out a lot really fast. You can watch this again. I got to channel what I get. So that's her. She's with you. She'll be on your left side, then she'll be on your right. And you'll never know which one because she wants to make you go, ah. Like she's funny. She's funny. She has such a big heart and she's so funny. Yeah, and his back pain. Okay, so the message about your brother is she's concerned. She's concerned and she hopes he takes it seriously, but there's a lot of regret he's housing. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? I don't know what this means. Something to do with your dad too. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. She's got a great personality, very bubbly. And there's something about like either a blanket or a scarf or something of hers that you keep. And so she's validating that too. Yeah. Yeah, but she's still like, no, okay, I know we're in a funny moment, but my sonny boy, like, so your brother, something about your brother's health needs to be taken seriously, like fast. And there's something about regret. So there's a big piece of regret that he's holding on to. Like maybe like if your dad passed, he didn't get to say something in time or something about that relationship. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know him. I'm not reading his energy. I'm reading yours and your mom's. But this is her message. Like it's a very big deal. He needs to heal. He needs to open up to that regret. He needs to heal his heart. Heart. Aortic valve. Oh, okay. Yep. So that's what your mom is really trying to nudge right now with him. And with you, it's to align you up to where you're supposed to be. There's hesitation for you in a lot of ways. There's fears. She says you feel like she's abandoned you. And she didn't. It's not that at all. Like she's still here. She just, if you can tune into those nudges and accept that they're really nudges and follow them, you're going to see. And the perfume should validate that. Okay. And she says the rest of the message will too. You will process it over the night. And don't be afraid to let those emotions out because you may cry a little from this too. Because what is a message from a loved one? It's healing. Okay. So accept it for that. It's a gift. And she will always be with you. Oh my gosh. And something about an earring. But she will always be with you. Do you wear her earring? What's that about? Do you have your ear pierced? I almost see her playing with your earring like right here, and she's like, that's mine. I don't know. Well, let's see what the card says, okay? Or maybe she just likes your ear. I don't know. I feel like she goes, there's a connection. Yeah, my brother's really hard-hitting about letting go. He's not much into that. So that's something my mom will have to help him about. So she is. So she felt that she could help more on the other side. So whatever we do on the other side, maybe she's pleading, maybe she's working on it in the ancestral realm. Who knows? About the earring, I don't know. I don't either. But I know she messes with your ears sometimes. If you ever feel something weird or if you get ringing in your left ear, ask if it's her and see what you get. I feel like that's a way to communicate. Like she's trying to talk to you about communicating. Okay. So look into that. If you feel something, if you're wearing an earring and you feel like there's weirdness around it, just feel anything or ringing in your ear, I would just pay attention to that for whatever it is. I can't create the meaning for it. It just put it in your pocket. Okay. Because it always comes through later when we need it the most. All right, Roger, pull a quick card for you. And keep in mind that you learned a lot tonight. So it's a lot of processing that will be coming through. I have had ringing in my ears. Yes. So there you go. Ring, earring, flip, flip, flip. That makes sense to me, right? That makes more sense. It's not a literal earring. It's your ears ringing. So ask what she has to say. Don't be afraid and write it down. If you're asking for her to communicate with you, this is what she is saying. If you ask for me to communicate with you and your ear rings, tune in and write it down. And my sonny boy, you're not alone and you are making the right choices. Stop doubting your choices. Know that your choices come from the best places. You are of love and light. You are divinely guided. And you're guided by her. She may be small, but she's a spitfire too. Like she's pushing you. So know that you're going to make the right choices. You just have to give yourself I don't want to say strength, but the freedom to make those choices. I feel like there's this gap with believing in your own abilities and beliefs and nudges. And she wants you to know that you're making the right choices. Okay? And there's been so many validations in that. So I thank her for coming through, but she has to go. But she is with you a lot. She hears it all the time. She sure is a spitfire. She is. I like her a lot. She had amazing energy. That was fun, Roger. Thank you. I'm glad you made it. She makes those things possible too, right? So Roger, you got a lot from this video, from the beginning to the end. And this makes me feel like I'm back to where we used to be. I miss these videos so very much. Do you guys like Saturday night, by the way? Because they changed my schedule at work. So how about if I do these lives every Saturday night? Do you like that? And then a Sunday morning Facebook. Would that be okay? Aw. Donita says, Roger, with a big hug. I love it. You're so welcome, Roger. Thank you for letting me flex my muscles today. I haven't got to do healings and readings in a while. And if that happens, even I can feel like, oh no, I'm not connected. Oh my. And then the other day I started running light because I'm starting to kind of consider developing my Light Healers Academy. So you can become a certified light healer because I'm a master. And I have to bring them new modalities. And so I was like, I'm not connected. Oh gosh. And I was working really hard. And then I was like hearing all of these things within my system, like adipose tissue and all. And I'm like, oh, okay. Nope, I'm good. So we think we're not connected, but in truth, we're always connected. We just block the energy. It's such a validation. So, and I haven't got to do mediumship in so long. And she was just boom there. So it always feels good. So I thank you too, Roger. I think it was a blessing for both of us. In truth. Okay. I'm going to go try to eat because after what happened this morning, I missed my breakfast sandwich. I didn't get to eat today. I'm all disheveled. And I still got to finish the twin flame wands, y'all. I'm working on the green ray ones right now. Got the red ray ones next, blue, and then yellow. So I'm getting there. I'm going to go finish those up tonight. It's on like Donkey Kong. And then tomorrow I will be on Facebook at 10 a.m. I do believe sharp, okay? And we're going to talk a little bit more about the darkness and the light and those things, and maybe do some messages there as well. All right? Okay. So as long as you guys like these Saturdays, I think I'm going to keep them there for my lives here now. Okay? Saturday night live, right? Saturday night, it's all right. I don't know. Whatever. Thank you all for being you. Thank you to those that can see the light and can see things through that veil and can know that at least something is just not simply right. And they follow those nudges even if it doesn't meet those around them, because you, my friends, are God's warriors. We need you. We love you. It's on. So much love to all of you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being strong. I need you as much as you need me. We're in this together. We're a big, happy soul tribe family. And until next time, you're right where you're supposed to be. Hasta la vista. Bye, guys. I'm like, I don't want to let you go. This is a great video. I've missed you all so much. Okay. Bye again. Bye-bye.